Deuteronomy 18. The Levitical Kohanim, all the tribe of Levi, are to have no portion or inheritance with Israel. They are to eat the offerings made by Adonai by fire as his inheritance. They will have no inheritance among their brothers. Adonai is their inheritance, just as he promised them. So this will be the share due to the Kohanim from the people. From those who offer a sacrifice, whether a bull or a sheep, they are to give the Kohen the shoulder, 2 cheeks, and the stomach, the first fruits of your grain, of your new wine, of your oil, and of the first fleece of your sheep you are to give him. For Adonai your God has chosen him from all your tribes to stand and serve in the name of Adonai, him and his sons forever. Suppose a Levite comes from one of your towns, wherever he is living in all of Israel, and he comes whenever his soul desires to the place Adonai chooses, and serves in the name of Adonai his God, like all the fellow Levites who stand there before Adonai. They are to eat equal portions, regardless of their father's goods. Occultism loathsome to Adonai. When you enter the land Adonai your God is giving you, you are not to learn to do the abominations of those nations. There must not be found among you anyone who makes his son or daughter pass through the fire, or a fortune teller, soothsayer, omen reader, or sorcerer, or the one who casts spells, or a medium or spiritist, or someone who calls upon the dead. For whoever does these things is an abomination to Adonai, and because of these abominations, Adonai your God is driving them out from before you. You are to be blameless before Adonai your God. For these nations which you are about to dispossess listen to soothsayers and fortune tellers, but as for you, Adonai your God will not allow you to do so. A prophet is promised. Adonai your God will raise up for you a prophet, like me from your midst, from your brothers. To him you must listen. This is just what you asked of Adonai your God in Horeb on the day of the assembly, when saying, I cannot continue to hear the voice of Adonai my God, or see the great fire any more, or I will die. Adonai said to me, they have done well in what they have spoken. I will raise up a prophet like you for them, among their brothers. I will put my words in his mouth, and he will speak to them all that I command him. And now whoever does not listen to my words, that this prophet speaks in my name, I myself will call him to account. But the prophet who presumes to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or who speaks in the name of other gods, that prophet will die. Now should you say in your heart, how would we recognize that the word that Adonai has not spoken? When a prophet speaks in Adonai's name, and the word does not happen or come true, that is a word that Adonai has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. Do not be afraid of him. Deuteronomy 19, cities of refuge. When Adonai your God cuts off the nations whose lands Adonai your God is giving you, and you dispossess them and dwell in their cities and houses, you are to set apart 3 cities for yourself within the land that he is giving you to possess. You are to prepare the way for yourself and divide into 3 parts the borders of your land that Adonai your God enables you to inherit, so that anyone who kills may flee there. Now this is the case of the one who kills, who may flee there and live. Whoever kills his neighbor unintentionally and did not hate him in the past, as when someone goes into the forest with his neighbor to chop wood, and his hand takes a swing with an axe to cut down the tree, and the iron flies off the wood and hits his neighbor so that he dies. He may flee to one of these cities and live. Otherwise, if the way is long, the avenger of blood, while his heart is hot, may chase the manslayer, catch up to him, and strike him dead. Yet no death sentence is on him, since he did not hate him in the past. Therefore I am commanding you, set apart 3 cities for yourself. Suppose Adonai your God enlarges your territory, and he has sworn to your fathers, and he gives you all the land that he promised to give to your fathers. When you take care to do all this mitzvah that I am commanding you today, to love Adonai your God, and to always walk in his ways, then you are to add 3 more cities for yourself beside these 3. The innocent blood will not be shed within your land, that Adonai will not be shed within your land, that Adonai your God has given you as an inheritance, and there would be blood upon you. And suppose someone hates his neighbor, waits in hiding for him, rises up against him, strikes him dead, then flees to one of these cities. Then the elders of his hometown should send and take him from there, and hand him over to the avenger of blood to die. Your eyes should not pity him, but you must purge the innocent blood from Israel, so that it may go well with you. You must not move your neighbor's boundary marker, that the first generation is marked out in the inheritance you will receive in the land Adonai your God has given you to possess. A single witness shall not rise up against a person for any offense or sin that he commits. By the word of 2 or 3 witnesses is a case to be established. Suppose a hostile witness rises up against someone to accuse him of wrongdoing, then both people who have the dispute will stand before Adonai, before the Kohanim and judges in charge of that time. The judges are to investigate thoroughly, and if indeed the witness is a false witness and has testified falsely against his brother, then you are to do to him just as he has plotted to do to his brother. So you will purge the evil from your midst. Those who remain will hear and be afraid, and they will no longer do such an evil thing as this in your midst. Your eye must not show pity, life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. Deuteronomy 20, confidence in battle. When you go out to battle against your enemies and see horse and chariot, a people more numerous than you, do not be afraid of them. For Adonai your God, the one who brought you up from the land of Egypt, is with you. When you draw near to the battle, the Kohen will come forward and speak to the people. He will say to them, Hear, O Israel, you are drawing near today to the battle against your enemies. Don't be faint-hearted. Don't fear or panic or tremble because of them. For Adonai your God is the one who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. The officers are to speak to the troops, saying, What man has built a new house but has not dedicated it? Let him go back to his house, otherwise he might die in the battle, and another man would dedicate it. What man has planted a vineyard but has not put it to use? Let him go back to his house. Otherwise he might die in the battle, and another man would begin to use it. What man has become engaged to a woman but has not married her? Let him go back to his house, otherwise he might die in the battle, and another man would marry her. The officers speak further to the troops, and they say, What man is afraid and faint-hearted? Let him go back to his house, so he does not weaken his brother's heart like his own. Then when the officers have finished speaking to the troops, they should appoint army commanders at the head of the troops. When you go near a city to fight against it, call out shalom to it. Now if it answers you shalom and opens up to you, then all the people found in it will serve you as forced laborers. If it does not make peace with you, but makes war against you, then lay siege against the city. When Adonai your God hands it over to you, you are to strike all its males with the sword, only the women, children, livestock, and all that is in the city, all its spoil. And may you take as plunder for yourself, so you may consume your enemy's spoil, which Adonai your God has given you. Thus you will do to all the cities that are very distant from you, which are not among the towns of these nations nearby. However, only from the cities of these prophecies, which Adonai your God has given you as an inheritance, you must not let anything that breathes lives. You must utterly destroy them, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, just as Adonai your God has commanded you. You are to do this so they will not teach you to do all the abominations as they have done for their gods, and so you would sin against Adonai your God. When you lay siege to a city for a long time, making war against it to capture it, you are not to destroy its trees by swinging an axe at them. For from them that you may eat, so you shall not chop them down. For it is the tree of the field human. That it should enter the siege before you. For is the tree of the field human that it should enter the siege before you? You may destroy and chop down only the trees that you know are not trees for food, so that you may build siege equipment against the city that is making the war with you until its downfall.